welcome back. We're going to jump right into round 2 of 7 today. We got Jeskai Control and Boros Burn. So, real quick, what are your thoughts?
So I really like this matchup for Jeskai Control. They have a lot of things. You should have Helixes, and that's pretty much what you need to win this match. Helix and Snapcaster Mages. He also has one Sphinx's Rev, so he's going on a little bit on the topper end. Burn can get underneath this deck. He does have a couple cool spicy things, like one Rampaging Frostodon on the sideboard, which could cause some issues. A couple Chained to the Rocks. So some interesting things in here coming in from the sideboard, but I think that Jeskai should be better in Burn in this matchup.
All right, on that note, we're going to transition down to the feature match table. All right, here we go. Serum Visions, starting it off. What is Chris to do?
So, Chris notably playing these forest sleeves.
I did notice that, yeah.
All right, here, and Michael's going to go with a Sacred Foundry here.
I mean, Goblin Guide would be the best start.
Here we go. That's a Goblin Guide. Trigger the Goblin Guide. Goblin Guide's going to reveal a Snapcaster Mage off the top of Chris's deck.
That's, I mean, it's good and bad, right? The only thing in Chris's graveyard at the moment is, I mean, a Serum Visions, but as the game goes longer, it gets better and better.
Yeah, I wonder how many lands are in Chris's hands. It looks like 3, though one will come in tapped. So he does want this Goblin Guide to kind of hit another land here if he can choose to. The Serum Visions will help him set it up, though.
That's very true. Yeah, Michael, I mean, I'm no Burn aficionado. I'm more of the person who's trying to beat Burn. But Eidolon would be fantastic here. That Searing Blades doesn't really have a whole lot of targets in Chris's deck, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think right now you might also extend into like a Monastery Swift Sphere and try to bolt. That way you at least keep applying pressure. Chris probably doesn't have a lot of one-drop interaction, right, out of his deck, so this will make it so even if he has a bolt for the Goblin Guide or the Swift Spear, he's at least taking 5 damage this turn.
As we can see here, we got the Swift Spear. Ooh. Creature Plan.
I like this. Go wide. You've seen blue-red. You know your opponent probably doesn't have a sweeper in the main.
Colonnade's a pretty good one, though.
It is. Unfortunately, it will come in tapped, and that's fine by Michael.
Reveal the Colonnade. Oh, here's a bolt. Had a bolt the whole time. Do you go after the Goblin Guide or one of the Swift Spears?
Ooh, this is a good question here. It depends on what the rest of Chris's hand looks like, right? Like, if his hand is kind of slower, then you're going to hit this Goblin Guide, which is what he's going to do. If your hand was a little bit faster, you knew you could deal with these Swift Spears, you would need it. He might have a Detention Sphere. Detention Sphere would want you to leave both of the same named cards, right?
That's very true. Also, maybe because he does have that white source now, that Verdict maybe a little bit closer to actually happening.
It looks like no Detention Spheres in his 70 or in his 60, but he does have a Wrath of God and a Spring Verdict.
Oh, wow. Nope, we're just on the Bolt Everything game plan.
All right. They're both on the Bolt Everything game plan.
That's very true, actually, yeah. It's just varying degrees of Bolt.
Our last match was all defined by Emrakul's everywhere. This one was defined by Lightning Bolt everywhere.
I know, and TJ picked now to get out of the booth.
Yeah.
It's bolts on both sides.
Swift Spear going to come in here.
Oh, are you going to... Yep, looks like we're going to fire off something. No, Boros Charm you now. Yeah, I like that.
I like this as well. It doesn't really help you to play at instant speed against a counterspell deck. You know that Chris is tapped out. You know that this spell is going to resolve. It does the most damage of all the spells left in your hand, including getting that prowess trigger on Monastery Swift Spear.
This way, if Chris does actually... Well, he has the Helix here, unfortunately, and Michael decided to not hold up the Skullcrack, which is defensible. I mean, it's totally fine. Also, if you're trying to save your creature from a Verdict, it's probably... You've probably already lost that game, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. Drew another Boros Charm.
It's also, I mean, Chris is still at 10, and Michael has, what, 7, or it looks like 6 cards in hand? It's a lot of burn spells.
Yeah, and I think only one of them is non-castable, really. So now Michael gets to do the plan of, try to burn you on the end of your turn, make you counter it, untap, and burn you on my turn again.
It's the old question mark, do you have enough counter spells or enough interaction to do things?
Yeah, and Chris has to be worried, do you have enough spells to kill me if I tap out this turn to counter this?
Yeah, only has, can cast one Cryptic command, but looks like we're going to cast the Logic Knot instead.
Yeah, and the dangerous thing here for Chris as well, though, is this tells Michael that he does not have another Lightning Helix.
Very true. Tapping that red mana. Oh, no, just ripping Boros Charms like it's, has negates.
Negate!
The one main deck negates. Coming in hot. Oh. That was a fantastic draw for Chris. I think it was Sphinx's Revelation.
Yeah, gonna get to Helix now. He goes to 13. Jeskai really turning the corner here.
Man, that negate really coming strong.
Yeah, I like the kind of the bait setup there, right? You show your opponent, hey, look, I'm tapped out of the good relevant colors. It was totally right on Michael to cast that spell there.
Oh, yeah.
Got punished for it.
Well, I mean, use the Searing Blaze while you can. No real good targets.
And to full effect. I wonder if Michael was holding on to that Wooded Foothills for this moment. Or if he just happened to draw it this turn.
I think either way, it's fine for him, right?
Yeah, it works.
Unfortunately for Michael, I think Chris does have that copy of Sphinx's Revelation in hand.
He
That's
does.
Going to be massive.
Yeah, and it looks like Michael is stuck with a second copy of Searing Blaze in hand, too.
Now, the eternal question is, if you're on Chris's side, do you play around Skullcrack? As much as you can, or just
I
forever?
think you do. The question is, how big are you Sphinx's Revving for?
Yeah.
Right now, it's only 2. I don't think that's good enough. Right, but
as Michael draws a second copy of an uncastable Skullcrack. Or uncastable Searing Blaze, I should say.
Yeah, but I think that once you get to maybe 3 or 4, if you can then catch a turn where Michael's tapped out, then you go for the Sphinx's Rev for 3 or 4.
All right. What is Chris to do now? Flooded Strand, though. I mean, that's enough. Rev for 3's on the table now.
Yeah. The hard part here for Chris is it's going to be when do you turn the corner and try to win. Every turn you give Michael the chance to draw a card, he's probably drawing a lightning bolt effect.
That's very true. I mean, what was that? Inspiring Vantage is, a land, right?
Yeah,
that's the best thing you can say about it at the moment.
Yeah, it's not particularly great, and I don't think that Michael's deck has Shard Volley in it, so he won't be able to turn these extra land drops into lightning bolts later.
I think Chris is maybe looking at trying to activate a Field of Ruin.
It's interesting.
Maybe go after an untapped source.
Yeah, I mean, it just essentially takes Michael off of white sources. He'll get mountains, but you're not worried about the mountains. You're worried about him having multiple, like, Boros charms in hand, for example.
Although, to be fair, Michael's played 3 of them, so I don't think he'll have multiple Boros charms, but the thinking's the same, like Lightning Helix. Or,
yes.
Actually, I guess it's just those. Just Lightning Helix and Boros charm, but
Yep.
Those are the very impactful cards that Michael could have. Also, I mean, it takes him off having Skullcrack plus a Bolt.
Yeah. The main thing also here is this colorless land is always kind of dead for Chris. Like, it's just kind of real awkward to play with, so getting another colored land out of your deck is pretty good. He also doesn't want to draw any more lands, really, from here.
Very true, very true. And as you can see, Michael has 3 cards. 2 of them are Searing Blazes.
Ooh.
And that third one is a Skullcrack.
Yeah. And while Chris does have this Sphinx's Rev in hand, he does have to find the right turn to tap out for it. And if it gets Skullcracked, he could be in a world of trouble, because it doesn't matter how many cards he draws, he could still just be dead.
Yeah, Supreme Verdict off the top. I mean, that was going to be a very good card about 4 turns ago. Now it's in a medium plus.
Yeah, it's a card that's probably not getting cast now.
I guess there's also the option that Chris could decide to, here we see Sphinx's Revelation and Skullcrack.
So now we're probably going to see a Bolt and a Skullcrack come in here, put Chris down to 1.
I guess you can start with a Skullcrack, right?
Yeah, I think you start with a Skullcrack. If Chris has a 1-mana interaction spell here,
you got me.
You got me. Yeah. Like he's like a Spell Snare, which he does have in the list, but
yep, there's Skullcrack. Put you to 4.
yeah.
Maybe you can try to put him.
All right, Michael, fire off this bolt now. Put him to 1.
All right, here we go. He's gonna listen to you.
Yeah, because I think there's multiple reasons why you put him to 1 here.
That fetch land didn't play. Being
The
a pretty
fetch land
big
didn't
deal.
play. It also makes your Searing Blazes lethal without landfall.
Oh, it looks like Michael's gonna let that resolve and just say, "Okay, you're at 4."
Okay.
Guess
he's gonna bluff having another Skullcrack effect.
What?
Just not the worst case scenario as well, and I can totally see that line for Michael.
Spike. I mean, he spiked the top deck. That's what
Yeah.
he got. So
There you go. Yeah, I like this pass from Michael now. You play
try
this,
to overload the counter spells.
Yeah, you just play the patient game, and you could realistically get to a turn in which you cast Chris draws a Wrathagon. No creatures are living here.
Yeah.
But Michael could set up a turn in which, if he finds another instant spell, he might be able to fire them all off with like a counter spell on the stack and just kill Chris.
And hope that, I mean, we know that Chris doesn't have a card like Counterflex, just counter everything on the stack.
Yeah.
That'd be quite the fun way to end this. But I mean, Chris is flooding out pretty bad, and not. I mean, he's drawn what, one copy of Lightning Helix this game?
He drew one, and he flashed it back with.
I mean, he does have a Snapcaster in hand, I believe. So like, unfortunately, Michael's found 3 what would be lethal burn spells functionally.
Yep. So here comes Lava Spike. Chris says, "Okay, I will take that and go to 1. It is not lethal."
Those 2 fetch lands are basically unplayable at the moment.
And does Michael have another?
I think he has a Bolt and a Helix.
He does. So the question is, how many spells can he play around from Chris?
Yeah, we're going to see Serum Visions first, though. Do you want to fire it off here?
Yeah, it looks like he's going to pick this fight on Chris's turn. I like this because then if Chris fights over this and wins the fight, Michael gets a draw step to try to just kill him.
Just win the game on the spot. Looks like he's going to find a Field of Ruin, so that's not an issue. Bolts, and I believe another fetch land going to go to the bottom.
Don't need either of those. We need ways to win games.
All right. So that white mana not going to be a problem through that Field of Ruin. Has 2 sources. Oh, there's a bolt.
Yeah, I think that Michael should be able to overload Chris now, either on his own turn or on...
Yep, we're going to pick the fight right now. I have a Snapcaster, but guess what? I have another bolt.
On to Snapcaster, bolt you again, and Michael's got it.
Should have gone for the Searing Blaze.
Yeah. That would have been nice. So you watch how Michael played that out here. That's exactly how you want to play Burn. Burn kind of gets sometimes a bad rap for being... an entry-level, simplistic modern deck. It is extremely tough because you can... Games like that are games that you'll lose if you don't sequence your spells correctly.
Oh, of course.
You draw a spell, you cast it, and you just feel like, okay, well, I just need to cast it.
Oh, yeah, you just cast the top of your deck.
Yeah, right. and then Chris gets to counter the top of his deck every single time. You end up not getting anywhere. So finding the right lines of sequencing and when to go for the lethal spells really pushes Burn through.
Oh, for sure. I mean, he didn't even have an Idol in there, and that's what sometimes what's called the best card in the deck is Eidolon of the Great Revel.
Eidolon of the Great Revel turns out multi-format all-star.
Card
is real good.
It's absolutely fantastic, but you don't need it there. Just need burn spells.
Yeah, I think the trio of creatures here, Goblin Guide, Monastery Whisper, Eidolon of the Great Revel, also staples in every other version of Burn you want.
Why does Goblin Guide have to be a 2/2? Why can't it just be a 2/1? If it was a 2/1, we wouldn't even have it. It would be, very good.
Yeah, but being able to jump in with a Lingering Soul and kill
it. Yeah, we'll just be
I'll
block it with a 1/1, and it won't be an issue. It's a 2/2.
2/2, but it gives you lands.
Oh.
I would not doubt if eventually we're going to get a 2/2 with haste that doesn't have any drawback. Just the way Pattern Creep goes. But cool. Okay, so sideboards here.
Yes.
What does Michael have to bring in for this matchup?
Well, he's got Exquisite Firecraft.
Yeah,
that's a fantastic one.
That one's pretty good. Let's pull that one up
for
our viewers. Those who didn't play during Origin Standard.
I love me some Exquisite Firecrafts.
Yeah. This card's really good. So first of all, you're going to have Spell Mastery.
Oh, of course. Right?
So this is essentially just another 4 damage burn spell. Costs 3, but it will be uncounterable because you have Spell Mastery. That's what you want against a counterspell deck.
Oh, your opponent's sitting on Cryptics and Negates, and here's for you.
Yeah, notably that what the Supreme Verdict, or not the Supreme Verdict, the Sphinx's Revelation told Michael during Game 1 is that Chris is probably not on a Spellqueller deck.
That would make sense.
And it does not look like he has any Spellquellers in his 75.
All right.
So that means it makes cards like Exquisite Firecraft much better, rather than Spellquellers would make them worse.
Yeah, and we also see in Michael's sideboard has a couple copies of Relic of Progenitus.
Ooh, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
You think he brings in just to shut off the Snapcaster Mages?
Well, I think it's because Searing Blaze is basically a dead card.
Right, so you need to pull out as many cards.
So that's 4 cards right there. And he doesn't have 4 copies of Skullcrack, unfortunately.
No, yeah. I think you bring in Rampaging Ferocidon as an
on-board
Skullcrack, because then it also forces Mike or Chris to have to cast the spell at it. And the important thing, the way this works, is that if he Lightning Helixes the Ferocidon, Chris does not gain life.
Yep, because it's not gone until
state-based
actions are checked.
So I think that's a very good card to bring in. It's also a menace creature, which Chris is going to have a hard time blocking if he ever wants to block at all.
Very true. Very true.
So he has to find a removal spell for it. Also, the Snapcaster Mage incidentally will do him 1 point of damage.
Hey, I mean, incidental points are incidental points.
Yeah. So, from the Jeskai side, he's got, let's see here. So he's got Blessed Alliance, a Celestial Purge that will probably come in, a couple of Dispels, those are all good, and a Negate. Otherwise, he has a bunch of creatures.
I mean, he could board in Wear and Tear specifically for Eidolon, but...
Yeah.
I mean, you look at his main deck, and he's got
His main deck feels great against this kind of a matchup.
I mean, you're probably gonna have to board out your Jaces. Unfortunately, they're a little slow.
Jason Mind Sculptor, as we talked about a little bit, is 2 blue lose the game probably
against Burn most likely, and probably Electrolyze as well.
Yes, and you're probably taking out like a Wrath of God or a Supreme Verdict. You don't really need to have the sweepers there. Notably, he only has 2 sweepers in the main. I could see an argument for bringing in a couple of the cheaper creatures like Geist Insane Draft I actually kind of like against Burn because they're probably not going to hold back things to block it very often. And it actually gives you a clock. Again, we talked about that earlier. Chris gave Michael so many draw steps because he didn't have an adequate clock on board.
Oh, for sure. TJ, I'm ahead of you. Don't worry. Colonnade tapped. I mean, the tap land for Jeskai, that's kind of classic, but that's what kind of Michael wants to see.
Yeah. Here we go. Goblin Guide in. Feel the runes to hand for Chris.
An 18 life.
Perfect.
If you could guarantee a Goblin Guide dealt damage every turn, oh man, Burn would be the best deck in the format. Not close.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's what we need. 1 red, 2/2 haste, unblockable.
Unblockable.
Well, then we can go to a 2/1 if it's unblockable.
Oh yeah, if it's unblockable, for sure. Pay 2, Helix, so it's effectively gain 1 life, remove your Goblin Guide.
Yeah, it's an interesting play there. I don't know the rest of Chris's hand, but I do like getting that in while you can. Any points of life gain you can get in this matchup is pretty big, even if it's just 1.
Ooh, it looks like he has 2 Eidolons. But it looks like we're going to basically just play all of our cards first so Eidolon doesn't come back to bite us. There's the Relic. So
yeah, I like that. Also being able to get rid of this Lightning Helix right away. Get him for 2 damage still. This still puts the most amount of damage into play. And then, this Eidolon won't dome you for as much as well because he did shock in this Sacred Foundry.
Yep, I believe so. So he should be at 18 life.
There is a Geist Insane Draft. So as we're talking about, it's kind of awkward because now Michael's going to have to cast a spell to make sure he can get that Prowess trigger above it. And then that's a 3-turn clock.
That's very true. Now Chris is looking at Michael saying, oh, you're the aggro deck? Nice. Huh, funny. So an attack here.
Yeah, it's weird. Geist is a card where you're like, this is kind of a good anti-control card, but it does a lot of work against these kinds of decks as well.
Yeah, now Eidolon is looking a little bit awkward. That drawback, quote unquote, is looking worse for Michael than it is for Chris. I mean, there's also a non-zero chance he blocks. There is,
and I think if you're Chris, you're okay trading a Geist for an Eidolon.
No, looks like
choosing not to.
Yeah, disagrees. You will hopefully get those life totals updated soon.
Looks like Chris is lacking a few good spells in hand. Looks like he has a lot of lands. So that could be why he's opting to prioritize keeping this Geist Insane Draft.
That would make sense. There is that Swift Spear going to take 2 damage. All 16.
Some friendly fire, but it's doable.
I think if I'm on Michael's side, I will taking 2 damage.
Yeah. Ooh, Cryptic Command.
If you're fighting off a Cryptic to counter that, I feel pretty good.
Yeah, I feel pretty good as well. And he's going to be able to resolve a Lavamancer here.
Repeatable sources of damage are why you play this deck, right? That's why Eidolon's fantastic.
Looks like he's going for the Lava Spike instead. I can see the line of play right here because now he gets in with Swift Spear as well. Whereas if you played out the Lavamancer, you don't get in with Swift Spear at all this turn.
So look at that. Lava Spike dealing 5 damage functionally this turn.
Yeah, so the question here is, does Michael want to activate this relic now? He says yes.
Well, it's better than if Chris just has a random fetch land.
Exactly. Just might as well eat any card worth of value out of the graveyard. And if you're tapping at end of turn and you know you can eat this card now, might as well.
Yeah, it's weird. Relic has become one of those cards where it's better to use on your main phase than it is at the end of your opponent's turn. It's weird how that shift happened.
Yeah, so that Eidolon's going to be exiled.
Chris going to fall to 9. And that's 3 burn spells, so...
So it looks like Michael decided not to get a land. And it got pathed. So it's in the yard now? I'm confused with what's going on here.
I am too. Not quite sure what's going on here.
So there's a Snapcaster path on the next creature. Also opts not to get a land.
Yeah, it has 3 basic mountains, so that's not an issue. I think we're just getting a little bit of...
There, okay. So...
But either way...
there was a recent change with this ruling. As of, I want to say it was Rivals of Ixalan, you now have to inform your opponent that there is the option to search for basic land at competitive REL events, which is what we are at right now.
Yeah, and that's what we're seeing right now. I believe there's a little bit of a
Yep. So Michael should be able to get the option here to go get these 2 lands.
Yep. I mean, that's probably for the better, all things considered. Like, just basically saying, like, oh, this is an option available to you. It's better for, I guess, the long-term health of the game.
Yeah, like you're at competitive RDL events, you're required to know what your cards do. You're not always required to know exactly what your opponent's card do.
There we go.
Cards like Path and Field of Runes is a big one because it also Field of Runes isn't a May. It's a it's
you have to
and you have to at least shuffle.
Yeah.
So it's pretty big to at least let your opponents know, hey, this is what you have, this option you need to make.
Yeah, it's weird with Field of Runes specifically because you have cards like Archive Trap, which actually do matter that you have to at least search.
I've been a big fan of my cheesy mono black EDH deck with Obnixilis Unshackled because you just make each player search. So all 3 players at the table sack the creature and lose 10 life, and everybody go get a basic.
Neat.
Yeah, I've been having fun with that in Crucible Worlds.
Oh man,
I'm an awful human being.
Yeah. Man, I can't get behind that. Sorry.
Yeah.
So we do have our judge on the case right now. So hopefully this will be resolved pretty soon. And
Sweet.
Before while we resolve this, we're gonna come back up to the news desk and maybe talk about a little bit of this game so far.
Yeah, fantastic.
All right, here we go. We're still up at the news desk. Don't worry, we are keeping an eye on the table. It's a little bit of a judge call on the way involving Path to Exile.
Yeah, perfect. So this is the main thing is, again, whenever you guys have a question at your competitive RDL events, call over a judge. They are your friends. They are not food. Talk to them. They will gladly help you out into any scenario.
No judge is going to come up to you and just say, I don't want to help you.
Yeah, no.
No, it was a stupid question.
Put your hand down. No.
Guess who lost her winning into day 2 at Hartford yesterday? Me? I was wrong. It wasn't me. I mean, good news is that you made it to a win and in, right?
Yeah, that's the big thing. I have lost many win and ins at many GPs.
I have too, don't worry.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us.
And also the worst of us, a.k.a. me.
Yeah.
So the key thing there is to concentrate on how well you played, and also that if you know your mistakes, try to remedy them in the future. Don't focus on yourself now.
Yep. And did you go and sign up for the PTQ for today? Because that's always a big thing whenever I make sure to scrap out of day 1. Go play the PTQ. It's just like you're playing on day 2 of the event, but now you can actually get prizes. X and 2 and better, it gets about a box.
That's very true.
Which is huge. Just comp a little bit of your tournament entry fees and things like that. at least for those who go to GPs often. And enjoy yourself in the GP. Go say hello to the artists.
Oh yeah, go say hi to everyone. I mean,
I've heard a lot of boggles in that room, so walk around with some hexproof. That's apparently what people are doing nowadays.
It's weird because I was looking at the tournament out here a little bit. There's a surprising amount of elves out there.
Interesting.
And I'm a big fan of that deck.
I'm a big fan of elves too. Now, is it the Bloodbraid Elf version?
There are 2 of them out there that are.
I like that version. I think it's very cool. It's been interesting. Elves has had a couple different shifts and changes over the over the last couple months because we had the Vizier combo being played into elves a little bit, which I also like it there. And then, again, with Bloodbraid Elf, people are like, well, this is an elf. It's a 4-drop.
I've played Blood Elves in the past.
Yeah, so people are going to want to run it as well. And I've seen some Jund versions with
like Shaman.
Of the Pack.
Yeah, that's actually 2 of the ones out there.
Which I like. My only issue with it is it's just like Panza. It's a Bloodbraid Elf deck that can Bloodbraid Elf into something that's...
yeah, that's
You're
true.
like, I hit a Llanowar Elf. Well...
I mean, it's an elf, though,
It is. And it is an elf that's coming back into Standard here. Super excited.
Saw that. So someone said that Llanowar Elf's coming back in Dominaria, and I said, okay, I'm playing Standard again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no,
I absolutely love Llanowar Elves.
I played some Brawl at a local game store yesterday, and they gave out promo copies of
Llanowar Elves. I heard about that.
And it's great.
I just saw them earlier today.
They're so gorgeous.
I want all of them.
Yeah, they're great.
Man.
From a cosmetic standpoint, how do you feel about the change of removing to your mana pool? So it just says tap, add green.
I actually really like it.
I do too. I think it's simplistic.
I just
nice.
love how clean it is. And we are actually going to we're coming right back down to the table here. Looks like that has been resolved.
Cool. Looks like Michael is going to end up getting a couple mountains here.
Yeah, so we're going to show back up Jeskai Control versus Burn Game 2. And yeah, we're going to see you down there. right, here we go. Life totals are, of course, 14-9. 4 mana now for Michael. I think he'd rather have the creatures in play, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. 9 is a pretty hefty life total, especially when you're facing down a Geist Insane Draft. The main thing that this Geist does is it forces Michael into casting his spells as soon as possible. He can't sit back like he did in Game 1 and pick the right turn to fight that battle.
It's very true. Goblin Guide there? That's okay, right? It's okay.
Yeah, I think this Goblin Guy just trades off with the Snapcaster Mage.
I mean, for the first time in this game, Michael's really behind on life total, and there's life totals aren't everything, obviously.
No, yeah.
But when you're facing down a very aggressive creature like Geist Insane Draft, it does actually matter.
It does. This Goblin Guy might come down into block mode.
I can't say I've seen a lot of those.
Lightning Helix U, 6 to 11.
And it might just be...
That is step 1 to winning.
There's an Eidolon. All right.
Okay.
So it's probably in block mode.
It could be.
Question is...
I like this being that Chris is now down on life. Because now if he wants to cast any sort of interaction spells to try to apply pressure to Michael's life total, he's at least shocking himself.
It's very true.
And if he shocks himself, he sets him up to a double bolt or a Boros Charm turn to 2 lethal from Michael here to Chris.
Oh, there is this other line that Chris could take involving, fetching for a land here and activating Colonnade. And then saying you're going to take 10 damage, you're at 1. Sure, you don't have an Eidolon. And I'm at 5. Do you have exactly, 5 damage?
Yeah, essentially forcing him to 2 burn spells. He does have 2 cards in hand.
Well, of course, we know one of them's a Goblin Guide.
We do, yes.
So, does Chris want to make that thing of, do you have exactly this?
Now, does Chris have, a Path to Exile in hand?
I don't believe so.
Because he will have still blue-white open.
Yeah, because of the Colonnade having Vigilance. Nope, we're just going to see an attack here, put you to functionally 7. I would imagine Michael's going to block.
Yeah, I think you have to snap block here. You don't feel great about it, but I think it's what you have to do. Yeah, it looks like the other card in hand is a Lavamancer, which is not going to do a lot here. It's a little too slow.
Geist is incredibly problematic. Yep, we're going to see a block here. Those Goyfs are bigger now. Enchantments in the graveyard.
There you go. People at the next table are cheering for joy. Here comes Serum Visions for Chris.
That's an island, and a Logic Knot, and a land. I imagine I'm going to keep that Logic Knot. But that's not a whole lot of action for Chris. I believe has 3 lands in hand at the moment.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Snapcaster Mage.
So you can Snapcaster Serum Visions.
It's always worth it.
Yeah.
I just say, hey, maybe you exile the Serum Visions.
He hasn't played a land yet this turn either, so he will be able to also hold open
Bolt
Logic
and
Knot.
Rev. So this game might be over as early as the next turn if Chris gets to untap with a Rev. Because I can't imagine he's going to say...
So the downside here, though, is he has to leave open this fetch land. And if
Boros Charm.
Michael's going to have an interesting turn here in which he casts a spell, right, to try to lethal Chris. Chris is going to crack out the fetch land. Michael needs to activate Relic in response to the fetch to get rid of the land so he can't Logic Knot him for anything.
Yeah, that's very true.
and that's you have to play with that play, specifically knowing about Logic Knot and how you need to play around it.
That's the definition of heads-up play right there, to play around Logic Knot.
Either that or you have to have 1 mana open to then pay for the Logic Knot anyway. But the Relic activation is free, so you might as well do it.
Yeah, and also, Chris is just scryed to the top. He might, and we know it's a Rev.
Yeah. He cracked Relic.
Ooh. Finds a mountain.
That's not, I think, really what he wants.
Well, here's the Goblin Guide. Or, sorry, the Lavamancer first. I mean, there's always that inherent, tension between Relic and Lavamancer, but I don't know if this is the way you want to solve it.
The problem here is that here comes Boros Charm. We're going to Boros Charm you.
Put you to 2.
The problem is that I think Chris is just dead to call on a double attack. Oh, no, I guess you'd go to 1.
And remember, Michael does have the Goblin Guide he can play here.
He does. But this will probably get Logic Knotted.
Well, remember, Chris's top card is a Rev.
Or a Bolt. He can both on top.
That's true. It's either a Rev or a Bolt.
Yeah. I think you probably have to bolt and not the rev. I guess the rev gains you life. The bolt probably sets you up for lethal.
I mean, if we're talking clearly, the rev draws the bolt.
Yeah. Now because one of these Snapcaster Mages is priced into blocking.
I would imagine, lethal threats are lethal threats.
Trigger, showing
There's
the
the
bolt.
bolts.
Blocking here. No, this is still lethal because now you can untap, draw the bolt, then fetch off, attack with Colonnade, and bolt.
Yep, here we go. Go to 1.
Whew. By the skin of his teeth, it looks like Chris has found the avenue.
Wow.
That is Lightning Bolt Avenue.
It's a little bit better than Electric Avenue.
Yeah. And bolt
There's
you.
the bolt. Flip my hand over. Strategically only show you the lightning bolt, though.
Yeah, the one that you already knew about. Gotcha.
All right, so 2 best words in Magic coming up.
Yeah, game 3.
Game 3.
Man, that was a very fantastically played game.
That was very, very well done for Chris.
Yeah, very, very well maneuvered. Again, a lot of times against Burn, it's usually like a 1-turn race against the fair decks. Like, you either beat them by a turn or you're losing by a turn. So figuring out which side of that math you're on and figuring out a way to flip that around is huge.
Yeah, and it looks like Chris actually boarded out a couple copies of Cryptic Command.
Interesting. I kind of like that. It's a little too slow. It does go around Eidolon, which is nice, but again, you don't want to be having them early in your hand and not be able to cast them until turn 4.
Yeah, and he actually looks like he kept Jace the Mind Sculptor as well. So
Interesting.
yeah, looking to maybe say I'm gonna just control you in the early game, and then use Jace to really ice
jump
the
ahead.
game. Just ice the game out.
I do also like there's subtle interactions there with Jace where Jace can also bounce Eidolon on the Great Revel before
That's
you cast
true.
spells.
That's very true. Jace really does everything, doesn't he?
He kind of does, yeah. He does everything. He does, my lawn. He comes over, I needed a door fix, and he rehung it for me.
I was gonna say he's who I call if I need,
advice
advice going out on the town.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
seems like the guy who really knows everyone.
He's not my financial advisor.
Oh,
though.
no,
He's
no.
terrible at that. He just wants you to spend all the money.
It's like, Jace, what should I do? Brainstorm.
Yeah, brainstorm, always.
But like,
But I need to face my opponent, right? No, brainstorm.
brainstorm.
Yeah.
Jace, come on! It's right in front of me. But do you have all the options? Like, you need all your options. You need to brainstorm.
Exactly. Yeah. He's the kind of deck, or Jason's the kind of guy who plays a deck that has no win conditions. He just draws cards.
Oh yeah, of course. What's my win condition?
Draw more cards than my
Draw
opponent.
more cards?
As LSV would say, win cons are overrated.
Oh yeah, I
Just need
have an
more
elixir of immortality. That's all I need.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna deck before me.
Yeah. And I only need one.
Oh yeah, of course. If you draw multiple,
Yeah.
man, that's so bad.
It is. Yeah.
Huh. Anyway, game 3 here between Burn and Jeskai. Do you think anything changes based on the player of the draw?
I don't think so. There are cards that, again, along the lines of Geister, which is really kind of the turning point there. I also see a copy of Gideon Ally of Zendikar in Chris's sideboard, and I would not mind that on the play. So he's going to be on the draw, so that's not. But that's something, an option that he might have swapped between play and draw.
Change Planeswalker for a different format of Planeswalker, basically.
Yeah, exactly. The main thing is, again, it's proactive. The 2/2 gets to blocks and trades with essentially all of Michael's creatures. The 5/5.
I was gonna say it's very true. Then.
Yeah. The 5/5 is impossible for Michael to really get off the board, and then if he's got to dictate other burn spells to get rid of it or attack it.
Michael doesn't even have Path in his sideboard. He's on the Chain to the Rocks plan, so
Yeah.
even if he did board in Path for whatever reason, wouldn't be able to get rid of
super
Gideon.
awkward. Yeah, so it's pretty good. And then, of course, on the turns if you're going to play into an Eidolon and say Michael is concerned about getting Gideon off the board, you can always make Gideon a creature first and then cast your spells. It prevents any damage that would be redirected to him.
Oh, that's very interesting. I hadn't really considered that line.
Yeah, so it's there's lots of different decisions there. I am a big fan of Gideon Ally of Zendikar. I think he needs to see more play in Modern because there are very many games where he comes down and your opponent just goes, I can't beat that. Like,
yeah,
it's just going to beat me in the face 5 or 6 turns in a row.
Man, Gideon that's quite the card. So turn 1, well, we have a creature. It's a Swift Spear.
Yeah, not quite the Goblin Guide start they had in the first 2 games, but hey, it'll do.
Hey, you take any creature you can. That's the real workhorses of the burn deck.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen a common get adapted into Modern and Legacy rotation as quickly as Monastery Swift Spear did.
Yeah, it's one of those cards where it's like this isn't as good as Goblin Guide, but I
need a Goblin Guide
5
through 8.
Yeah, I was gonna say prowess is a heck of an ability.
I love it. I'm glad they made it evergreen. It's a very interesting mechanic.
Yeah.
So Michael left in Searing Blazes.
At least a couple.
That's an interesting decision point there. I don't know if I necessarily agree with it, simply from the fact that the only creature you really, really, really care about is Geist.
I was going to say, that's the one that really got you.
Yeah. Though, I guess you can get rid of Snapcaster Mages and having them block can be awkward.
And it looks like Chris actually kept his copies of Electrolyze as well.
Interesting.
Huh. Maybe...
Well, these players play these decks a lot.
I was going to say, yeah, that's why we're up here, right?
Yeah. and there's lots of bad cards in both these decks for their main decks, so there could be just that there wasn't good enough sideboard cards to be bringing in to offset some of these cards that maybe are not the most ideal.
There's that 4-mana Planeswalker for Chris, Jace the Mind Sculptor in hand. And looks like he also has a Geist.
A Geist and a land. I couldn't quite tell the way he shuffled his cards there. Which one went to the top?
I think the land went to the top. He's missing a red source at the moment.
Interesting. Yes, so he definitely needs a land. Interesting that he opts to put the Geist to the bottom then.
Well, he does draw a card, so that's a full opt.
It is, yes.
The question is, what is has the green source. Now, granted, I don't think Destructive Revelry coming in, but
yeah, no,
it's an option.
If you see Detention Sphere in the first couple of games, maybe, but normally it's just the blue-white decks, not the Jeskai decks that are running Detention Sphere.
Helix you now. Chris is going to fall to 12. Michael going to go to 18. Of course, that 2 life off that fetch land. The other 2 points unaccounted for.
Interesting copies here. There are 2 copies of Deflecting Palm. Do you think Michael brought those in now that he saw the Geist? The only Deflecting Palm and Angel feels real good.
I was going to say it's a functional Boros charm.
I kind of think you do, because between Colonnades and Geist, those are the ways you're going to lose against this,
very true.
This Jeskai deck. And yeah, if Chris tries to come into a battle like that, being able to just set up a, hey, I'm not going to take the damage, but you are, can really offset that race.
That's a good point. I don't know. I probably wouldn't, but...
I'd probably like him better than Searing Blaze.
That's very true. It's probably better than Searing Blaze. So Michael is holding on to a Skullcrack. It's 4 mana. I mean, that's probably more lands than he wants in general, but has 3 spells, so that's good.
Yeah, not the worst. Again, this Whisper is doing a lot of lifting.
If you ask Twistspear if it worked out.
Yeah, it lifts.
Yeah, it lifts. So Electrolyze, pointing 2 points at the Swiftspear, I imagine? Or...
Man.
Oh yeah, we're just going to Skullcrack you.
I like this, because the Prowess trigger to mean that this Whisper gets to live. I also think that this Whisper does mainly squats. Focuses on leg day. So it's
leg day. It's always leg day.
Always leg day, because it's got a little bit bigger booty than it does the front side.
What round is this? This is round number 2 of 7.
Dose of 7. Dose of quite.
Dose of 7.
Yeah.
We know what's up. So Bolt on the Swiftspear.
This is huge exchange here from Michael to his benefit. It gets to eat all these spells his Monastery Swiftspear does and not die. Now it'll probably die to this Lightning Bolt.
Yeah, I think if I'm in Michael's spot, I'm okay. You wasted functionally 5 spells dealing with this?
Yeah, 2 spells for, I guess a spell and a half or a card and a half because the Electrolyze replaces itself.
Yeah, but
5 points for the burn is huge. You're at 17, your opponent's at 7. Unlike last game where Chris was able to slam that Geist on 3, which is really where you want it.
Yeah.
Chris hasn't put a clock on the board yet. So again, Michael is at all the time in the world now to refill his hand.
I mean, he does have that Jace that's looming, but, I mean, and Jace with no pressure is a Jace you want.
Yeah, although Michael does have a Skullcrack in hand.
I think Chris is aware that if you play a Jace against a burn deck, you should probably Fade Seal to protect it.
Probably. Although on the downside, all of Michael's spells do pretty much the same thing. They all do 3 damage or whatever to your face. So Fade Sealing isn't going to be as effective as it would be against
Also, 2 copies of Jace.
Yeah, that might encourage him to actually just slam one
and
do the Brainstorm.
I was going to say, with 2 of them, it's a little different. I believe that was a Rift Bolt off the top. Yep, there it is.
So Rift Bolt's nice because it sets up a turn in which you can cast multiple spells and force Chris to answer multiple spells. And he does have... I'm trying to see which burn spells. I think he's got at least 1.
Skullcrack, if I remember right. Yep.
Yeah, Skullcrack.
Good old Ambush Viper incoming.
And I think he's got a white spell. Oh, no, it's a land. Okay.
I was going to say, So Michael still has that Searing Blaze. I'm wondering why he didn't just fire it off now.
He does have a fetch land up. I think he's trying to save... this, so when this Rift Bolt comes off, if Chris tries to counter, say, the Rift Bolt, he can then Searing Blaze plus Skullcrack.
Oh, okay.
And put Chris down to 1.
All right, so Rift Bolt, you
down to 4. And now he's essentially got almost lethal here. He drew another land.
Drew a land off the relic activation,
Yeah.
and I think it was another relic.
Hey, look at that. Relics finding relics.
I mean, that's what you do.
Does he have enough points of burn to fight this fight now and win?
So, yep, it looks like he's going to start with the relic.
I think if you're Michael, you wait. You're not under a serious clock here.
Yeah, looks like Michael agrees.
Yeah, you're not under a serious clock here, and if you can find one more burn spell, you probably have Chris dead to rights.
All right, that's a second logic knot. Of course, they get a little bit worse in multiples.
Yeah, now you're ooh, exquisite firecraft, but unfortunately there's not two spells.
I was
in the
gonna
art.
say, do you want to just fire stuff off on Michael's end step now, or I should say Chris's end step?
How much mana do you have?
Looks like you have at least 2, so you can go.
See, yes and no. I'm a little worried about tapping down lower than 2 mana, and getting
getting revved?
getting revved, not having skull crack up.
Looks like Michael's just gonna say, do you have rev?
Yeah, or Helix.
Looks like you're gonna see Spell Snare take down the Searing Blaze. So that's not going to be a problem here.
And then now he's going to be able to bait him into a counter spell or like the Logic Knot on the Skullcrack, and then he'll be able to Exquisite Firecraft.
I mean, Firecraft's one heck of a card, as we can see here. Chris has got what it feels like infinite counter spells.
Uncounterable. One heck of a drug.
Man. This turns out Supreme Verdict not the only uncounterable spell that matters in this matchup.
No, not at all.
Well, there's a Boros Charm too, so hey, there you go. Multiple lethal threats.
I like casting the Skullcrack first. If Chris responds, you then have access to Boros Charm.
I was gonna say, Michael, please don't. Oh, if he sequences it like this.
Okay, Exquisite Firecraft first. There's not Spell Mastery in the yard, but Spell Mastery checks on Resolution if I'm not mistaken.
I actually am not sure about that.
Because now Michael can skull crack you. This goes to the yard. This is now uncounterable.
Spell Mastery,
and this goes off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Bravo,
I think
Michael.
that's what we're seeing right here.
Yeah.
Spell Mastery checks upon Resolution.
Yeah. So what happens is that it tries to be countered. This is my understanding. I think it tries to be countered, but sees that there's 2 spells in the yard, can't be countered. And so it won't check for that till the resolution of the Logic Knot. You can target uncounterable spells.
That's a totally legal target.
Yes. So that's a little bit awkward, but
it
just won't do anything.
All right, and then we're just doing some clarification here.
So I believe that's exactly how that ends up working. And I like this from Michael because you kind of bait Chris into not knowing that this will be uncounterable.
It's very true.
And unlike the other lines we were talking about, this also guarantees that he still has a Boros Charm in hand at the end of all this.
It's very true.
If something wacky happened.
So yeah, it does check, in fact, on Resolution. This Firecraft is going to win the game for Michael. And again, if you have any questions about how these cards work,
the
judges are there for a reason.
Yeah, I definitely love saving the Skullcrack up and making sure not to die yet to a Blessed Alliance or a Lightning Helix or any of those kinds of effects that are going to let Chris gain life.
It's very true, and we saw that also super relevant there. Chris had to tap functionally 4 mana for the Logic Knot.
Yeah.
Because Michael had...
Those relics did a lot of work this game.
So Michael taking down Jeskai Control. I mean, typically, not a great matchup for Burn.
No, yeah, I think that Chris got a little bit unfortunate there. Again, we didn't see very many Helixes as probably his normal game. When he starts to get to Snapcast to Helix territory a lot. But Michael played that very well. Made sure to sequence his burn spells exactly right. Knew when to go on the offensive and the pressure. Chris had a sort of fatal scry moment there with his Serum Visions where he decided to put that Geist to the bottom.
That's very true.
And while I don't think that him keeping his top would have won him this game,
it definitely would have forced Michael to make different plays.
Yes, it would have forced him to actually now have to address the board state that was happening and not be able to hold open burn spells to go off for this turn. Because Michael only ended at 13, so 2 attacks with Geist, and you probably have him dead to rights.
I was going to say, and we didn't see a whole lot of creatures from Michael after that Swift Spear. Sorry.
And we saw Chris take 5 damage to the Swift Spear that could have gone to Michael's face.
That's very true. So, we're going to transition back up to the booth. We got about 6 minutes left on the clock. And
how's our table 2 going?
our table 2, I believe, is already done. Yeah, there's just some Lonely Life dice.
Womp womp. All right.
All right, so we're going to transition back up to the news desk, and I'm going to show Zach how to play 20 questions.
Hey. Good.
So, welcome back up to the news desk. My name is Coleman, and this is
Oh,
Zach.
I'm a guy. I'm Zachary Brady.
I'm just a guy, you know? So this is the Geek Fortress stream. Special Sunday stream. This is our 1K. 7 rounds. We just finished round 2. I'm looking forward to the rest of it. How about you?
Oh, I am as well. It's going to be a long day, but I am excited.
All right. So I think I just heard out there... I'm not sure what's going on out there, but I hear Dylan screaming, so...
Hey.
And I believe we got a knock on the door.
Next is up.
All right, next round is available.
Fantastic.
So, I'm going to say goodbye to you for a round.
Yeah. I enjoy having some fun with TJ. I'm going to get some fresh air.
Fresh air's overrated.
Yeah. All right. See you guys later.
All right. So, round 3 starting up now. Fire cleanses. That's a good start. That is a good one. It is very, does cauterize wounds pretty effectively, if I'm being honest. So, yeah. Round 3 upcoming. And here we go. TJ is back in the booth. Did you enjoy your round off?
It was weird. I'm feeling good. I'm back. I got to see that burn right up close. That was such a good bit of sequencing at the end. Very, very impressive. That skull crack, the resolution on that. So our matchup next is going to be, I don't know what sides that they're on, to be honest, because I just wanted to get back here.
Okay.
But it is going to be Ethan. Oh yeah, I need to actually recognize what the alphabet
Johnson.
is.
Yep.
And then it is going to be a player named Marcus. So Ethan is on 4-color Pyromancer. We saw this yesterday a little bit. We can go ahead on down. We'll update that as we need to.
I think we're good right now. I think they
Are they just shuffling up?
They're just still shuffling.
Okay, you got the eyes on it. I'll let you be the eyes on it. And on the other side we have Marcus, who is running... Oh my...